Hi guys, the day old turkeys are now 1 week old, and as you can see they are very happy, healthy and strong. Okay, if you follow all the descriptions illustrated in the chicks brooding management, then you can be sure to also raise your day old chicks to maturity without any problem. I haven't given them any medication. I haven't given them any vaccines, antibiotics, not even vitamins. All I do is give them clean water, healthy food, and ensure all the practices I talked about in chicks brooder management. In this video, we'll be continuing our 3-part study on brooder house management, which is pre-brooding management, chicks brooding management, and chicks disease management. Well, sometimes disease can still break out and you have to sort them out. So in chicks disease management, you will find ways in solving disease that may break out. My name is Enro Subuache and welcome to Hops Ranch. So the first item on our chicks disease management is vaccination. Vaccination is simply giving disease-causing organisms to your animals so that they can develop immunity against those diseases that those organisms cause should they get those diseases in the future. Okay, let me explain what I mean. When you don't want your chicks to get fowlpox in the future should they encounter fowlpox, then you can give them fowlpox vaccine in order for them to build their immunity against fowlpox, so that when they grow and one day there is a fowlpox outbreak in your locality, they've already built immunity to fight against that particular disease, which is fowlpox. Alright, there are a lot of vaccines and a lot of ways to administer vaccines. Some can be done through the mouth by pouring the vaccine in the chicks drinking water, through the eyes, under the skin, and sometimes it's even done through the wing. You take the wing and you pierce it with the vaccine. There are a lot of vaccines and the times that vaccine should be administered. I'll be making a special video on vaccines, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so YouTube will notify you when I do that. The next item on our list is disease control. First of all, you can actually raise all your chicks to maturity without any disease. Disease in chicks isn't really a factor if you follow all the chicks brooding management we talked about in our previous video. However, in case things go south and there are any disease outbreak, one important thing you need to practice is proper hygiene. You need to always make sure that your brooder house is clean. You need to always replace your water every day. Another important thing on disease control is to make sure that your litter is always dry. Wet litter releases ammonia that can be very harmful to your chicks, so you need to always make sure that your chicks litter is dry at all times. Whenever you have wet litter, you can either replace it or pour new dry litter on the wet part to absorb the moisture and make your litter dry and clean at all times. The third thing on our list is biosecurity. Biosecurity is simply the protection of plants and animals against disease-causing organisms. Your chicks are very young and they are very vulnerable, so you don't want them to come in contact with any form of disease-causing organism. One way to do that is to make sure that the outfit you are bringing into the brooder house is always clean and sterilized. Another way is to make sure all the equipment you use in your brooder house is clean and sterilized. It's simply practicing proper hygiene. You always need to make sure that whatever you are using in your brooder house is free of contaminants or anything that can cause disease. You also need to make sure to feed your chicks first before you move on to the older birds. Always feed your chicks first. The last item on chicks disease management is caring for sick chicks. Sick chicks can be hard to care for, but it's actually easy when you know what to do. When you see that your chick is sick, the first thing you need to do is to separate it from the healthy ones. That way you prevent bullying of the sick chicks. The healthy ones usually bully the sick chick, and also you also prevent the disease from spreading to the healthy ones. Afterwards, you need to provide the sick chick with clean water and food that is free of any contamination. Be sure to keep the sick chick hydrated at all times. Chickens' healing depends on the amount of water that's in them. When they are dehydrated, their immunity reduces. So be sure to provide your sick chick with water and make sure that it's drinking. You can encourage it by tapping the head gently and dipping the beak in the water to help it drink the water. You also need to encourage healthy eating. You can gently put food in the mouth and allow it to swallow the food gently. And lastly, you need to focus on rest and healing. Healing is gradual. You shouldn't expect your chick to heal instantly. So be patient with it, and in about 3 to 4 days it should start getting better. Okay guys, that's our last video on brooder house management. Congratulations on making it this far. I plan on making detailed videos on some points that I briefly listed in the video. So be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of those videos. Enjoy your chicks management, and be sure to like, subscribe and comment anything you don't understand or you think should be part of chicks brooder management. Thanks for watching. Bye.